Today's guest is Geoff Rose from Island Time Dispensary on Martha's Vineyard. He's one of the first to bring legal cannabis to the island, navigating regulations, legal battles, and supply chain shutdowns just to keep serving his community.
Looking around for opportunities to become part of the community, find a way to support myself to stay here.
What started as a bold idea became a fight to stay local, independent, and show the next generation that anything is possible when you build where you live. Let's hear what he has to say. Welcome to MVFounders, Geoff Rose. Awesome name. So thanks for even making it here. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to make this happen. All right, so let's get into it. Why Martha's Vineyard and why a dispensary?
Okay, two good questions. So why Martha's Vineyard? When there was a family unit, we vacationed here. That was back in the mid-1980s. And there was always this vision of what a wonderful place it would be to live here full time, as many people have that kind of a vision. Life changed, family changed, business changed, and literally in 2001 I said, I'm going to move to the Vineyard. 2001. Didn't know anybody and didn't have a job. And moved to a little 600 square foot guest cottage in West Tisbury, and just started looking around for opportunities to become part of the community, find a way to support myself to stay here. And I think the sort of the breakthrough, I think, of the efforts here was a program called Our Island Club, which still exists today. I co-founded it with a partner of mine, Jonathan Bernstein.
Right.
In 2005. It's a local consumer savings program that brought together many businesses on the island. We donated a percentage of our revenues to charities, to scholarship programs, and that program continues to exist. Fast forward 2012, medical marijuana was legalized in the state, and Jonathan and I, started thinking about it, saying, it's something the community wants, it's a community effort, and it probably could be a good business.
Well, how did you see the demand for that, though, while you were doing that?
The demand, really came from looking around the country, and so, to try to evaluate what the opportunity was required looking around the country and seeing other states where medical marijuana had been legalized. So that was the basis. We did our homework.
That is very interesting. So when it even come on to having medical marijuana as a business, right? That's very unique. And to know that business is here on the island, what do you think is the hardest part of running a cannabis business, especially medical marijuana? What's the hardest part of doing that?
We're now both, we serve both medical patients and adult use patients. I think the most challenging part of running a cannabis business on the island was access to product. Initially, we believed that we needed to cultivate all of the product here on the island.
Right.
That, over a period of time...
Who gave that idea? Whose idea was that to even say, that's all we're going to do?
To cultivate here on the island?
Yes.
Well, we were really, I'm going to use the word forced by the regulations, by the Cannabis Control Commission, to cultivate here on the island. It was always believed that we were unable to transport product from the mainland. So we built out a cultivation facility. When you ask me what's the most challenging part, is that ultimately it came to be that cultivating here on the island was not economically feasible. And that resulted in my filing a lawsuit against the Cannabis Control Commission to allow product to be transported from the mainland. The belief was always that the waters between the mainland and here were federal waters, and therefore you couldn't
Can't transport.
navigate, can't transport through federal waters.
It's like a maritime, it's like a maritime thing.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's a federal maritime situation.
Okay.
However, it turned out to not be accurate. The waters between the mainland and the Vineyard are what are called state territorial waters.
Interesting.
And
I can imagine how much money a lawyer would charge to tell you that difference, to let you know that difference. I could bet that probably was one of the driving factors that fueled that lawsuit and made you
absolutely. Absolutely. The fact that we could transport.
Who spot the difference between like what the federal waters are?
Investigation on the part of my attorneys and other people who understood the maritime laws. We just always believed that we had to cultivate here.
Wow.
And it turned out not to be true.
So basically, you've gone through all these challenges just to make one business work, right? And I'm pretty sure there are easier businesses a person could do, right? So it's like, what keeps you going and what makes you just continue with the process even though things were just so challenging to make sense?
Sure. I think it kind of goes back to, there was this vision when medical and ultimately adult use was legalized. It was termed the green rush. Everybody was going to be overnight successful. We were going to provide product to patients, to adult consumers, and everything was going to be wonderful. It didn't turn out to be that way. And what kept me going was the belief and the understanding that yes, there was an opportunity, and despite the challenges, there was always that vision. And I looked around the country, and it was a successful business. So why should it be any different here?
Exactly.
It just took. I used to say I thought it was going to take off like a rocket ship, and it turned out to be a roller coaster ride.
Roller coaster, wow. So getting product here is probably the hardest thing that happened to you.
It was the biggest change to the business.
Wow.
and the most difficult, yes.
So what do you think is the easiest thing? I would say probably getting employees. Is that easy? What's the easiest thing you've seen so far?
Employees, that's an interesting point. We're very fortunate.
Wow.
I have a great staff, year-round staff.
Yeah.
And I think that young people predominantly are attracted to the business, and we're able to really pick the best of the best.
Wow.
People like to work here. We're very, very pleased and very, very fortunate to have a great seasonal staff and year-round staff.
So even that is very cool, but even just on the topic of employees, right? So you basically cultivated this industry here where medical marijuana and recreational marijuana. How did you create the company culture around your employees in terms of letting them understand the legislations, letting them understand how the work flow goes? How did you do that? How did you train your staff to understand these things?
Great question. My managers are very well versed in the regulations, which are extensive,
Yes.
and so there is on-the-job training that every employee goes through with the managers. There's also required training, what's called responsible vendor training, which is a regulation by the state, so that every employee has to go through at least 8 hours of training a year, in addition to on the job. A lot of the training that employees get are really their own personal experiences with the product. I mean, there's the regulation side, which is very important. We're highly regulated. There's also the product knowledge side of it.
Yes.
Most of our employees bring their own personal experiences with the product to the table, and they share. They share information amongst themselves. They hear from customers and patients about how product works or doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
So there's a constant flow of information from the customers to the employees, and they're terrific. They're knowledgeable, and they understand the regulations.
I love that. So do you have like one person who understands it more than everybody else that works on the team?
I would say the two managers are really the CJ and Denham are the ones who are really most familiar with the regulations. And along with me, but the three of us really understand the regulations.
But all right, so even to get this business even going, because to go from even idea to actual, you're selling tomorrow, right? How long was that process?
From the day that we began to the day that I opened up a business was 8 years.
Insane.
8 years from the day that the concept was okay, we're going to do this, to the day that we literally opened up a store.
That is crazy. So
8 years.
It's so crazy when a person could say, okay, 8 years, right? But during that 8 years, were you working somewhere else? Like you're doing something else?
Our island club was certainly helping to support me while I was going through the process.
Yes.
There were, I mentioned roller coaster before. I mean, originally I got loans from people I knew to start the business.
Yeah. Investors.
Then, they weren't investors because they were lenders. Way back when the regulations first came out, we had to be a non-profit company.
Wow.
So you couldn't sell shares or invest. You had to do everything by loans.
Wow.
All right? That regulation changed, and when that changed, a national company literally called me up one day and said, we're very interested in being in the cannabis business on the Vineyard, and we would like to lend you all the money that you need to get your business running. And I said, when can we get together and have a conversation?
Because they saw the vision too, right?
They did.
They saw the vision.
They did.
It's kind of very interesting to have somebody else see what you see, and I think that sometimes that's the hardest thing. But from an investor standpoint, what differentiated the Vineyard versus just invested in another dispensary somewhere else? What did that for them?
I think they saw the uniqueness of both of the islands, because they were also interested in Nantucket.
Yes.
So they saw them as, I think, isolated geographies and probably limited competition in the area. I think that's the appeal that it had to them.
Yeah. I mean, Martha's Vineyard is a very unique market, and what's very cool is most people here, they don't understand that, like, once a business is here, you basically get like an unsaid monopoly, even if there's competition, right? Because it's like the people here, where else are they gonna go? Right? Where else are they going to go get other things? So it's like, even if you have two same businesses, it's very hard for them to lose money because the market is just so consolidated here, right?
Sure.
And I think that's very, very cool. But overall though, I want to change the whole dynamic now. So now we're open, we're going. What should a visitor that basically they're coming here and they know that this dispensary exists, right? What should they come in and try? What should they be interested in? What should they look for?
Sure. There are a couple of questions there. I think, first of all, you have at least two different segments of the population that come to visit here.
Interesting.
You've got the people who come from states that do not have adult use cannabis, so they're unfamiliar with. Then you have those who come from states where adult use is legal. So one of the things that we try to share with a customer who comes from a state where it's legal is, we're going to have some of the products your favorite products, because a number of our suppliers have distribution, throughout the country. They're national. We try to come up with a blend of national brands, but also state-related brands. To the novice, to the one who comes from a state where there is no product, we have a great variety of product. Flower, pre-rolls, tinctures, concentrates, vapes. So it's a great variety of product. What to recommend to them,
Yeah.
that comes down to the individual consultation with the bud tender. You know, what are you looking for? What is it that you want to achieve?
Yes.
You know,
What do you want to achieve?
what do you?
That's
so-
probably the best question there.
What, you know,
What do you
so
want to achieve?
it would be difficult for me to tell you what you want, but tell me what you're trying to achieve. You know, is it pain? Is it sleep? Is it energy that you're looking for?
Yeah, energy. What if a person is looking for energy? Like they're coming in, what are they trying?
Yeah, well, for the most part, you're looking at, you know, something that's sativa oriented, that's more energizing.
Yeah.
You have sativa in flower, you have sativa in pre-rolls, you have sativa in edibles, you have sativa in vapes. So again, it kind of goes back to many people, for example, don't want to smoke. So, you know, you've got to look at tinctures, you've got to look at edibles as an alternative. It really comes down to the individual and what they're looking for.
Well, that's very cool. Well, I have a series of 2 questions back to back now.
Okay.
And very interesting. So, what's something that people often get wrong about the cannabis industry here on Martha's Vineyard? And then, how do you educate people whenever they get things wrong of like what cannabis really is and does?
Well, I think the education process again kind of it's a one-to-one relationship when you walk into the dispensary.
Right.
What was the first question again?
So what are some of the things people get wrong? When they try to say, for instance, they're just judging cannabis, like they would see this business and they're judging it in terms of saying, oh no, don't go to this store or something. What are the things they get wrong?
I think fewer and fewer people feel that way.
Yeah.
I think that more and more people have a friend, have a relative, have somebody who has utilized cannabis,
Yes.
and it's been beneficial to them in some way. You know, are there still the naysayers out there
Yeah.
who believe that cannabis is a gateway drug of some sort?
Those guys. What do you say to those guys?
It's difficult to change people's
That's very true.
thinking. I appreciate that is your opinion, but more and more people are coming to accept, try, find it to be beneficial.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. I respect the fact that you know, have a particular point of view about the product.
Right.
And those people may have, you know, like there are people who have friends and family and relatives who have had positive experiences.
Wow.
We know that there are people out there who have friends and family members who have not had positive experiences.
Exactly.
Whether that's cannabis, marijuana, or whether it's alcohol. I mean, so you know, there are abuses to.
But I mean, I've always heard the term, like, cannabis has never killed anyone before, right? I've heard that term. And I've heard that, like, alcohol killed more people probably every year than more car accidents. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, I would see that stuff and then I would still see people having...
Yeah, you don't get into a car accident when you're traveling five miles an hour.
No, facts. And so is there any way you've chosen to educate people around cannabis use and how cannabis just could help them or benefit them in any way?
Yeah, we've done a handful of presentations at senior citizens, at some of the senior citizen centers. We did a campaign a number of years ago called Cannabis 101, you know, to try to educate people on the use of cannabis.
Yeah.
And you know, I think more and more of the local community is coming to see that.
Wow.
Our business continues to, you know, grow, pardon the pun.
So if somebody's buying for the first time, like, what are some of the tips that you could say to them? Hey, it's your first time using cannabis overall. Give them some tips. Give somebody.
Sure. Certainly when it comes to edibles,
Right.
we always recommend what we call low and slow.
Edibles scare me, bro. I'm telling you, like, I think it's very scary.
Okay, so, you know, you go to a doctor and the doctor says, you know, I'm going to prescribe 10 milligrams of this particular medication.
Right.
I think that's the right dosage. You know, take the 10 milligrams and come back to me, let's see if it works.
Right.
Well, maybe it needs to be 5, maybe it needs to be 15. So what we say about edibles is low and slow. In the state of Massachusetts, everything is 5 milligrams. So an edible is a 5 milligram dose.
Yep.
We will say to a first timer, cut it in half. Take 2.5 milligrams. We also explain that when it comes to edibles, the onset, the effect can take upwards of an hour or more.
It just looks so small, and it looks like harmless. I remember one time somebody told me to, be careful, bro, like, be careful. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I just ate the whole thing. I was not okay for the whole thing.
Well, it's like the story, don't eat the whole chocolate chip cookie or the whole brownie.
Crazy, bro.
Which is one of the advantages of coming to a dispensary for product, is that it is dosed.
Yes.
You hear stories of, growing up, these homemade brownies, these homemade chocolate chip cookies. I ate the whole thing. No, don't eat the whole thing, because you have no idea how much THC is in there.
You as well.
Now you can come here and you can dose. In terms of flower usage,
right,
to the first timer, it's take one hit of a flower pre-roll or something of that, and just see how it affects you, because that effect is instantaneous. You don't want to take too much.
Well, so I remember you mentioned doctor earlier. What could a person be going through that a doctor would prescribe them, say, hey, maybe cannabis is probably the best thing you should try? So
you have what are called authorizing physicians who can issue medical marijuana a card.
Yeah.
They can authorize a patient for medical marijuana, and that physician can recommend to that patient what they should use. The rest of the medical world, they technically they can't prescribe, they can't recommend. What's happened in the medical profession more and more, and I'm not saying that something that people don't know, is that the medical profession is saying, try it.
Wow.
Try it.
Yeah.
You have pain? Try it.
What kind of pain, though, you think? Back pain?
Back pain, arm pain, particularly people who are, an aging population, okay?
Right.
Who can have arthritis, who can have back pain, who can have leg pain. There's more and more physicians that are saying, try it. So the medical profession is coming around.
I seen a video once on, I think it was on Twitter, where this guy, he had Parkinson's, right? And he was like twitching, doing a bunch of stuff. And then they just gave him like a hit.
Yes.
They gave him a hit right there, and he was just normal. But it only lasted probably like 30 minutes.
Right.
But they were like, it's the first time we've ever seen him just calm, took a breather, right?
Yeah.
Man, that is very cool.
Yeah.
But going forward though, because you know that Martha's Vineyard is very seasonal, right? So how do you support your year-round community after like the season ends and it stopped getting crazy? How do you support your
well, I mean, we probably half of our business is the local community.
Really?
We have a very strong, year-round population.
Well, so it's like you've probably, I think the 8 years was worth it in starting because most people struggle with making their business year-round, right? Because here it's depending on the business model that you're in, right? You could see like a large growth in your business from the summer for like 5 months here.
Sure.
And then through the winter, you're just like dead bones, nothing, right? So it's like, I feel like you've solved that issue in just creating such like a year-round like community here. How has that been, and does it feel like it's worth it now?
Oh, it's absolutely. It's worth it. I mean, the whole effort to bring cannabis to the vineyard in the first place, and then to make sure that the community had cannabis by filing a lawsuit. It's a good feeling, because I get people, periodically to come and say, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you for what you did.
I mean, I think it's very cool, because what's crazy is I think people were getting it anyways, They were finding their means to get it anyways. So it's like, for a person to come and do it legitimately, the right way, I think that you've really opened the doors for just acceptance and allowing people to not feel bad or feel like, oh, I got to go do this sketchy deal around the corner. Like, you know, like.
I think that first timers, even today, they're like,
you're unsure.
Oh. It's not, I don't
they
have
can't
to hide.
nobody see them, like, yeah.
It's a friendly, inviting. I mean, we always get people will say, oh, the staff is great, they're friendly, it's a very welcoming place.
So for people who would travel here, like, and it's literally, they're from a state where it's not accepted, it's not they just don't know this exists, right? I've met people like this, and the face that they give me, it's almost like, yo, are you guys sure this is... What do you tell those people? Like, what do you say to them?
I see them frequently, and I think,
very cool.
Because I see them in the parking lot. I see them when they're pulling up. I engage people. Where are you from? I put flower baskets out to make it more friendly, so that the first timer from as you say, some state that's illegal, they go, oh, this is nice. This is fun.
Yes.
And then they're greeted by the host.
Correct.
We just try to create a friendly environment.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And so a little bit off that topic though, you know that Martha's Vineyard, right? I think what makes this island unique, especially when it comes on to business, it's the franchise ban that they have, right? So how has that franchise ban? That's probably one of the main reasons why I even started this podcast, because I realized that the franchise ban has made so many people here have to be diverse when it comes on to what business they do, how they do things, and it helps them to be like entrepreneurs and creative, right? So how has that franchise ban basically positively affect your business or even negatively affect your business?
I mean, I think when you come down to look at it from the cannabis business perspective, you still have to go to the state, you have to get a license, right. And you have to be a Massachusetts resident in order to get a license. Yes. I'm totally in favor of, franchise banning, because just as you said, it creates an environment where you have to be creative.
You have to be creative.
All right? What's not here and how can I provide that service?
Exactly. And one of the things that I just think is very interesting is that a lot of young people who grow up here on Martha's Vineyard, right? They wouldn't understand how special or unique a situation like that is, because it kind of levels the playing field. So anybody with an idea or just creativity could start basically anything, right? So it's like, what advice could you give somebody that doesn't understand this fact and they're just struggling to say, hey, I need to start something? What advice would you give them to start something?
What's your vision? What's your vision? Well, what are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? What do you go, wow, I would really like to, I love this. Cooking, gardening, contracting, plumbing, electrical, I mean, whatever it is, doctoring, lawyering, whatever that passion. Follow that passion.
I think so. So, say for instance, to even go more specific, a person, they have the passion, they have the goal, but things are just more challenging here on Martha's Vineyard than anywhere else, right? How do they create like an environment where they can follow their passion? They want to, they already have the drive to do it, but lay out like a roadmap for a person like this? Simple terms,
Well, I think part of it is potentially understanding I'll call it the market for your product or service is important. What kind of capital you're going to need to get this thing started. I mean,
and how to raise capital.
How do you raise capital?
So give an advice how to raise capital from a person who they have an idea, they know what they want to do, but they don't have capital. How do they raise that? Who you talk to first?
Friends and family.
Right. My friends and family. They say, okay, my friends and family.
I don't have any money.
Yeah, they don't have money.
maybe start working for someone else in that field.
In that field.
Learn
Wow.
everything that you can.
Gem. That's a gem.
You know, so
That's a gem.
Chris, there are a lot of people go, oh, I don't want to work for somebody. I just want to work for myself.
They don't know.
But if you got that vision, then okay, look, I'm going to have to work for something. I'm going to learn. That's where I'm going to learn.
Yes.
I'm going to learn the business. I'm going to learn how it works.
Yes.
And then I have that knowledge. Then I can take it and I've got something that maybe I can raise capital. Maybe I go to the bank.
Wow.
You know? So, you know, it's not always just starting out on your own.
Man, I love that. I feel like that would really just give a person an idea to understand that you don't have to just go out there and go start the thing. You could work your way up, you know. Just find somebody who's already at probably level 10, level 100. Just try to work under them.
Yeah.
I mean, I really appreciate that. So back to Island Time, all right? So how do you choose product? Well, like, how do you know what a person wants?
Well, over a period of time, we have a history now in terms of, you know, the what percentage of people want flower or want pre-rolls or want vapes or want edibles.
You have the data.
We got the data. We got the history. We got that's what we got. We fine tune it.
How do you wait? How do you even collect the data? Like how do you?
That
probably your systems, funnels, and stuff.
the computer systems track every bit of product. Again, going back to regulations, we're required to have computer systems where, you know, the products that we purchase, the state of Massachusetts knows that we have that product.
Okay. That is important.
There's no, the major no-no in our industry is what they call diversion, which means product should not find its way, you know, through a loophole, through an employee taking product. I mean, there are so many safeguards and regulations that make it I don't want to say impossible, but virtually impossible. You have 25 cameras in this building. Okay?
That's a lot of cameras, bro.
There are a lot of cameras. So, I mean, choosing product is, you know, we now have a history. There are trends that the managers watch very carefully in terms of new products coming on, varieties of products.
Where did these names come from, though? Because I would see these crazy names like
marketing is a lot of it is marketing.
So who chooses these names? Who chooses the names?
The cultivators and manufacturers.
Wow.
They're the ones who choose the names.
So they send the names with the product.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever you see on our menu is somebody else's naming.
Wow. So say how long now has Island Time been running?
On August 16th of this year, it'll be 4 years.
4 years.
Mm-hmm. Fourth birthday. Yeah.
Interesting. So for the 4 years, right? What process or system has improved throughout that time that you're like, you guys used to do this before, but now we don't do it anymore. We just do this. That's better now. Like, what are some of those processes and systems you changed?
Well, I think because of the change in our ability to get product, we're now in a situation where before we had a limited supply from Fine Fettle that owned the cultivation facility.
Right.
Now we have to go out and we have to pick and choose the product. Wow. So that particular system, that the ability to have that data and look at history and product and choose product better, more effectively. That's been significant, and that's only been over the last now almost year since we've been able to. So that's forced us to become better in our systems.
Man, that is really nice. And even a product like this, right, where you really don't have to do much to sell it, it kind of sells itself, right? Would you say that? Would you agree to that?
I would say for the most part, but there's still product. I mean, when we introduce a new product, for example, I mean, we just added some baked goods.
Baked goods.
Baked goods.
Wow.
Chocolate chip.
Do those have different regulations then? Because that's food.
It's that interesting point.
Yeah.
The state of Massachusetts does not consider a gummy or any edible product as a food product. It is a manufactured product. But to answer your question, same dose, 5 milligrams in an edible product. So when you purchase a chocolate chip bite or a brownie,
Yes.
there are 5 milligram doses. So there's
I did not know that. You know?
everything is 5 milligrams. So there is new product that comes on board. We started carrying product, Belushi Farms product, Blues Brothers product.
Wow.
We're about to start carrying product from Cheech and Chong.
Cheech and Chong, like the actual Cheech and Chong.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
They have a line of flour and pre-rolls, and that'll be on our menu in the next 10 days.
That is crazy. So like, even though this product sells itself and stuff like that, how are you doing marketing?
Yeah,
How do you do
good
marketing?
question. So those products are featured on our website.
Yeah.
If you go to our website now on the homepage, you'll see.
I'll put the website up so they can see it.
IslandTimeMV.com.
All right, so it's right here, guys.
You'll see the Belushi products featured on the homepage.
Wow.
And shortly, the Cheech and Chong product will be featured.
So you have somebody consistently updating the website?
Yes.
Wow.
You're looking at them.
Oh, you know this.
Well, let me go. In terms of the specialty products that are placed on the website, that's kind of my
Wow.
my responsibility.
That is very awesome, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because now I've always seen businesses, and I think a lot of things that stops a business here on Martha's Vineyard, even though it's seasonal and it goes up and down, I feel like if you can fix your marketing funnel for any business, you could have a year-round concept or just have like loyal customers that makes your business seem year-round, but you just have consistent customers, right? So it's like, I genuinely believe that once a person could just do something about their marketing. So if you should give somebody that already has a business and they're here and they're struggling with marketing, what are some of the marketing strategies that you've found that you can say, okay, I can help this person to make their stuff reach more people? How can you help them?
Have a good website.
Right.
Have somebody who understands the website that can do all of the SEOs that you need to get the visibility. Have a good social media presence, I think is important as well.
Yes.
Again, in relative terms, I think we have a pretty good following. We have over 3,000 followers in our Instagram.
That is crazy. Probably after this video, it's probably going to be way more than
probably double or triple.
Exactly. Yes, can find them. What's your Instagram handle?
Island.time.mv.
Oh, wow.
Remember, island.time.
Oh, so a lot of people can see that. Man, that is really nice. Especially, what's basically the vision from here? Because I know that they said we ban franchises, right? And we're not against that. But do you see yourself opening up different locations of Island Time?
Yeah, I'm not sure at this point.
But is it's your choice? Like, it's your choice.
Well, it's my choice, but then you have to look at individual towns and the bylaws that individual towns have, and each town is very different. So, you're really talking about 4 towns. Vineyard Haven, West Tisbury already has had dispensaries. Oak Bluffs and Edgartown have their own particular bylaws. So, one can make it more challenging. So
yeah, that's what I'm even thinking. So, even if you should expand, it wouldn't be right now. It wouldn't be right now.
No, absolutely nothing. No, any expansion is probably a couple of years away, and right now my focus is make Island Time Vineyard Haven the best dispensary it can be, serve the community. Because it's been, the last year has been a game changer, and going through what I had to go through before that. I mean, we were closed down for 6 weeks last year.
I know. Like, when I saw that, I thought you guys were done. I thought you guys were done. Did you have those type of feelings? Like,
absolutely. If we did not if we did not win that lawsuit,
Yeah.
I would have been out of business, and the Vineyard would not have product. I mean, it was scary.
That's kind of crazy.
It was an absolute scary time.
I would probably see people at five corners with signs.
Keep marijuana on the Vineyard.
Keep it over here.
You know, the community was very supportive of that. So, yeah, it's a great community.
No, I love this, man, because just seeing that you overcame that stuff. So I genuinely think it's cool, but oftentimes people, they do a business and it's exciting for the first 20 years, 30 years. You're like, you're loving what's going on. Do you see a time where you're just chilling on a boat somewhere, relaxing, not working?
I'm not sure that I would see myself doing that full time. I love the business. I love the people.
Yeah.
Would I like to have more time for myself? Sure. Yeah. Yes, I would. Yeah. I'm old. You know?
I know. All right. So how even we're about to wrap it up though. Yeah. But how? Say for instance, you're 10 more years in, right? You got 10 more years in. You're keeping it going. How would you transfer this company culture to somebody else to make sure they keep the same energy, the same strategies you were doing, and just keep your vision alive? How would you transfer this?
Over time, hiring the right people, giving them more and more responsibility, which is something that I consciously do. I'm not here every day.
Right.
I don't need to. I'm not a micromanager in that sense. People don't respond well to that. So I try to give people direction. I meet with my marketing team every week. I meet with my managers every week. I meet with my financial people every week.
Even from those people, right? What are the KPIs, like the key performance indicators that you use to know that, okay, we're doing well or we're not doing well? What are some of those?
The key indicator is revenue and expenses. You know, I look at that every single day.
Wow. So basically, you just always want to make sure that your expenses is way below revenue for the day or for the hour. Like, how do you?
Oh no, I look at it over a longer period of time. But you have to keep your eye on the ball.
Wow.
You just have to. It's ingrained in me.
well, that is pretty cool. And for MVFounders, what's going on is I decided that what I want to do, because since I'm going to speak to all the founders here on Martha's Vineyard, right? The last person left a question for the person I'm going to have right now. And I would want you to leave a question for the next founder that I interview. So the last person asked, what are the signs of happiness? Like, what is happiness to you?
As it relates to the business?
Yes. What makes you happy during your business and life on Martha's Vineyard?
That's two parts. Life on Martha's Vineyard is wonderful.
Yeah, because you're a founder. So being a founder on Martha's Vineyard, what brings your happiness?
I don't know whether I feel as a founder. I'm proud of what I did. I'm pleased of what I've done.
Yes.
What was the question again?
What brings happiness?
What happiness? Seeing my customers and my patients happy, satisfied, coming back.
Wow.
Seeing my staff enjoying what they do.
Seeing the systems work.
I mean, that's what makes me happy. What makes me happy personally is, my family is healthy. I have a 22-year-old granddaughter who's living with me for the third summer and works at the seafood shanty. I mean, that kind of stuff. I grew my first tomato plant.
Those things are so happy. So cool.
That's what makes me happy.
No, I love it. So go ahead. Leave a question for
the next founder. To the next founder.
You never know who. I might interview.
No, I know.
Yeah.
What inspired you? I think that was a question you asked me. But yeah, what was the inspiration for
Your business.
for what you do? And
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Geoff, thank you
My
very
pleasure.
much.
Thank you. This is great.
Great idea for MV Founders. I'll see you guys in the next one.